Hey guys, Saf here, and this is a bit of a different setup for the day. This video probably won't be too long, but I got a comment from Rick and Friends saying how I edited this video on Saf Studios. So whenever I saw that comment, I was like, you know what? This does seem like a perfect opportunity to make a how I edited this on Saf Studios, because I was really proud of myself for doing this fight. It's the first time I've ever done something like this, and I was really excited for everyone to see it, and it seems like everyone really liked the fight. So I appreciate all the kind comments. I'll put a couple up here on screen because I really appreciate all you guys. A lot of work goes into these videos, especially ones like this. So yeah, I really poured my heart into this, and I'm really glad you guys liked it. But with that out of the way, we can take a look at how I actually edited this, and maybe you guys can get a couple pointers or a couple ideas for your own fights or just videos in general. So I hope this is really helpful, and I'll go through as much as I can, and I'll try not to make it super boring. So right from the beginning here, there's immediately like 600 different effects on screen. I don't know if you can tell. We've got the background, which I'll explain in a minute, but there's the background. Over the background, there is the green screen characters, which appear here. Now, even before they appear, there's little dirt charges, I think they're called, a little blue light and a little purple light for Sonic and Hue respectively. Whenever they land, I have a little cartoon like explosion / energy effect to kind of hide the transition of them actually showing up there. Boom, and then they're there. And now over this whole thing actually is a slight layer of fog. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you look in this area, you can kind of see the fog coming up. But it kind of adds like a weird glow to everything that I feel like kind of meshes the entire project together. I don't know, I thought it looked kind of nice in the end. It also helps kind of match the characters with the background a little better. Now, you're seeing this from the outside, where the last effect applied to everything is a camera shake, which is how, you know, everything is kind of shaking like it would if you were just holding a camera. So after a whole sequence like this is done, I apply a camera shake so it looks more natural. You don't have to do the camera shake, but in my opinion, I feel like it makes things look more natural. Obviously, you know, if you want to say the shot is on a tripod, then, you know, you don't need the camera shake. But whenever it comes to these sorts of moments where everyone's on a green screen, I like to have the camera shake. I just think it kind of makes everything fit better together. But now that you've seen that all from the outside, there's 12 layers to this single clip. This is one 5-second, 6-second, almost 7-second clip that has 12 layers of video on it. So you've obviously got the bottom layer, which I'll get into in a minute because we're still not done. Technically, there's more to this. You've got the fog here. You've got both dirt charges right here. You know, that's where they come out. And then you've got the energy charges for whenever they land. This yellow and purple thing are the energy blue purple light spheres or circles or whatever you want to call them. Those come out right there, and those have to be manually animated across the screen or keyframed. Then of course there's the characters. Something I forgot to mention now that I'm in the nested sequence, which is, you know, whenever you pile everything together, the characters do actually have little drop shadows. I thought maybe it'd help them stand out a little more against the very harsh, like overexposed white of the floor, which is ice, obviously. This is a glacier. So here we've got the entire background construction. Every single shot of this fight, the background had to be manually constructed. Now I could get away with reusing a couple of the backgrounds every now and then for certain clips, but for most of the clips, I had to do this whole 4-layer thing for as many clips as there were. You know, we've got the ice on top, and then there's a mountain back there. There's a little mountain behind that mountain just to, you know, add some depth. And then of course the sky, which is just kind of a blue picture. But this ice texture, it's just a random ice texture. All these things, I looked on Google Images and I found them, so it's really easy to find these sorts of things. But, you know, I put all that together, and you'll notice here that the transition between the mountain and the ground is really harsh, and it looks a little unnatural, which is why whenever you escape that sequence, I put a blur over everything. So first of all, the background is now blurry because what the camera would focus on here would be the characters. The blur effect doesn't actually do the whole screen. It's basically cutting off right about here because all I wanted to do was blur this line from the background to the foreground. But yeah, that's what goes into one single shot. Now, this entire fight is on the cusp of 6 minutes, so you can imagine this took me a while. I don't remember quite Thank you for subscribing. That was out of nowhere. Okay, so here we go. This really goes to show how much time was put into this. This project was created on Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. So from February all the way till April, that's about 2 months of work basically. So this whole fight was 2 months on and off of work. Now if I really locked in for like 2-3 weeks straight, this could definitely be done within a month, but that's not healthy. You don't want to torture yourself like that, let me tell you. I also have a personal life, which is why something like this can't come out every week. That's just the way it is. So, you know, just to go on a small tangent here, this video is very special. It has a crazy fight scene that we've never done before. It took months. The rest of the video is also pretty crazy. You know, it's really long. But, you know, considering I don't have a whole lot of time to make videos every week, it's pretty limited with my schedule. You can only get these kinds of videos out, you know, once a month at max. So that's why some weeks you get a pretty simple little video like, I don't know, like Lazy Shadow. But then, you know, the next week you could get this whole thing. You know, we like to switch it up, but also, you know, it's for our sanity. We would not be able to upload weekly if we were trying to do this every week. But enough of that, let's get back to the editing. These talking shots are pretty simple, you know, they're all just basic. Construct the background, put the fog over it, put the character on there. But let's look into Sonic here, because Sonic is a little devil when it comes to the green screen. And you want to know why? Anyone who edits Sonic plushie toy videos and puts Sonic on a green screen would know the pain of keying Sonic on the green screen, getting rid of his green, but his eyes, look, his eyes are green. So on a green screen, realistically, Sonic's eyes have to disappear. So let's delete this. That's what happens whenever you put Sonic on a green screen. He has no green in his eyes. It's literally just the background. Now, the lighting can be a little weird, so, you know, sometimes you'll actually get the green to come through. But, you know, this eye is a prime example of nothing happening. So what you have to do is you have to create a mask over his eye, which is basically creating like a little circle over his eye. You have to invert it so then it's leaving the green only in that spot, and then you have to keyframe it for every little movement Sonic does. So if your Sonic moves a lot, I'm sorry, but you just have set yourself up for hours of keyframing Sonic's eyes. That's just how the game is played here on Sonic plushie toy channels. Alright, but that's enough about Sonic's eyes. Let's actually get to the fight here. So this is where it starts. Very simple, like blue and purple line effects from YouTube. Basically what I'm doing here is, for this line, I have the mask over the line, and it animates until it reaches the center. If I didn't have that mask, then the line would look like this the whole time, and it, you know, wouldn't look like it's moving at all. So that's why I have the little mask there. And then of course, you got the smoke, very simple effect. There's also a little like explosion shockwave effect. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of subtle. But finally, there's a camera shake over everything. You know, the dust settles for a moment. But then you have these colorful little punch effects, which I just thought would look kind of cool behind all the smoke. And then boom, there they are, right behind all the smoke. And I made sure that it times with the music like this. So that's a key thing. Make sure you're picking the right music for your fights, because music can drastically affect the mood of your fight. That's why this fight with this specific music from the Sonic OVA, which if you haven't noticed already, this fight and this video, this was just a huge reference to the Sonic OVA. More on that later. They come in here. This is kind of complicated, but these guys were filmed in separate shots, so they're not actually together here. I just put them together and aligned them because I needed Sonic to fly into the background for a moment and specifically blur him so he's out of focus, because guess what? Whenever you're focusing on something, not everything else is supposed to be in focus. So then, you know, as he comes back though, he comes back in focus, they get right back to punching and kicking. Now, if I could go back and change anything about this fight, it would be this specific exchange of blows, because they're going very slow at the beginning here. And that was just a product of me getting used to this editing style. I mean, this is the first time I've done a fight like this, and I had to kind of match their movements as best I could, so there's a lot of downtime between moves, which is, you know, something I'd change now, but I'm still happy with how it looks. Now, of course, we got Sonic's iconic spin dash. There's a lot that goes into this, you know, in this nested sequence. There's another nested sequence, and then of course more nested sequences. It's kind of like falling through an infinite void. It's just, it never ends. Sonic spin dash, what you basically need to know is it is a spin dash PNG with a blue circular light over it. I nest those together, and then I spin them around and give them some motion blur, and then I nest that again because I don't want to mess with the spinning anymore. And once it's like that, it's in this state where I can actually animate it moving around the screen. What I do here is I take off this uniform scale so I can squash and stretch the spin dash, which you can clearly see whenever Sonic lands on the ground there, it squashes into a bit of a slimmer shape because I want to show it being a little more bouncy. And this is actually the first time I've done this with the spin dash, and I think it looks really nice. His spin dash extends whenever he moves because of just how fast he's going. And for only this first shot, I don't know why, I tried like a hit stun effect. If you've ever played like a fighting game, you know, characters have like a hit stun whenever they hit the other characters. So I tried that with this because I thought it looked kind of nice in this first shot, but I never did it again. But, you know, there goes Metal, he flies off. Okay, for this shot of Metal, you know, you got him flying through the mountains. That's just some more background construction, just looping the same background a bunch of times. I tried to have it like kind of like a camera spinning effect. You know, he's flying, the camera spins to show him land on this ground section here. Here we have a shot of Sonic spin dash coming straight for Metal. This spin dash was animated by me. I did it in Procreate. I thought it would be cool to finally be able to get some different angles of the spin dash. But this has been around for literally years now, so you've probably seen it in other videos. We've got Metal Sonic shooting a laser, which is just as simple as just shooting a laser. Just get a laser effect on YouTube. There you go. Add a super violent camera shake to it. The laser goes, hits the mountain. It's just a lot of masking and whatnot, but then a couple explosion effects, plus adding a hole in the mountain, and there you go. And then also you can notice fake camera effects here. The mountain's out of focus, now it's in focus, but Sonic is out of focus. Simple as that. Very simple punches here. You got Sonic spinning here, flying back. More moving background. He flies into this mountain. Very simple effect right there, just some explosion stuff. We got a little classic expression change here. I feel like this is one of my best, you can barely notice it. You know, this is recorded in two separate shots. You go from the Sonic with the eyelids to the Sonic with the no eyelids. And it's a pretty seamless transition, I'd say, but it's even better whenever it's in motion. You don't even notice it, that's how cool it is. This is a big one, this one's huge. This is the first time I ever tried this, an actual Sonic running effect. So I think it turned out really good. I can still improve 100%, but I really like how it came out. There's a lot of moving pieces, so we've got the nested sequence for Sonic, which here he is by himself. You can see that there are two layers here. One layer where I just moved Sonic's legs, and then one layer where I just moved the top half of Sonic. And then this top nested sequence is that little speed line effect that goes over his feet to just kind of make it look even more fast. Lots of blur on the feet. I think it came out really good. Just some smoke trailing behind him and a moving ground. Looks great. I think it turned out really good. I was really happy with that, and hopefully I can do that more in the future because I think that turned out really good. And then here's a front running shot of Sonic. Same thing as last time where I basically do both halves separately. This time it was a lot harder to make it look entirely right, but I think for what it is, it looks pretty good. And then of course you got Hugh flying in the background with a purple light behind him, because why not? And then he looks up, and then Sonic disappears. I basically just kind of squish him until he disappears and add a little instant transmission effect. It's supposed to be like super speed, you know, like Sonic is just speed blitzed Hugh, if you want to call it that. I don't know if I saw anyone talking about this, but it was really funny because in the live chat for this premiere, somebody was like, Saf should do impact frames right before this happened. And there's your impact frame. I just thought it'd be really funny to add like a really fun impact frame. So you've got a couple flashes of white, you've got the Sonic actual punch with some energy coming off of it. little Easter egg of the actual Hue plush. You can kind of see his silhouette there. So I don't know. There you go. If you didn't catch that the first time, but he flies away. Just a little slow-mo. I thought that looked really cool. Here we go into After Effects territory. This was the first video I ever used After Effects on. I used After Effects to create these saber lines, is what they're called. So I used them to basically kind of mimic a Dragon Ball fight, which another reference for this fight was the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie fight, if any of you guys have seen that. I know I saw a couple comments mentioning that, but yes, that was a huge inspiration as it also takes place in a glacier. You know, they hit each other with that saber effect, it explodes, some camera shaking, it's pretty simple stuff. Here comes this segment, which is really just on After Effects, you basically just draw a line, you do a couple settings, and it moves like this, and it's pretty simple. It just took a lot of time because I had to do it like 800 times, but whenever they hit each other, shockwave and explosion, they hit each other again, shockwave, explosion. And then this is where the lines go really crazy. I wanted to make it look crazy, like they were flying everywhere. Kind of think about it like the Sonic Adventure 2 fight with Shadow, where you're kind of spinning around each other in the homing attack. So that's kind of what I was imagining with these two flying through the air like that. Whenever they come off of that, Hue comes out here, he starts charging a laser. Sonic spin dashes to avoid it, or you know, you could call this Sonic's first drop dash on Sap. I don't think he's ever done it before, but he drop dashes. The laser starts coming down. You can see the squash and stretch happen here. So he's very stretched out and squashes up, goes back to normal and runs away. The laser starts hitting the ground here and chasing Sonic. I thought this shot was really cool. I really liked the very intense looking spin dash while running away from the laser. It looks really crazy. You got the front shot here. He gets out of the way just in time for the laser to strike a mountain. And just like in an anime, it takes a second and then boom, there's the impact. You know, you get the shot, you wait, boom, there it is. This shot is just moving around a lot of the different pieces of the thing. Now you'll kind of notice after that, after the magma explodes out of the mountain, now the sky has gone black. You know, it's all polluted with the smoke from all the magma. I don't think that actually happens, but I just thought it would look cool. You got more magma coming out of the ice, because now Metal Sonic broke that, so now everything's coming apart. So this is kind of phase 2. I always imagine it as this is the end of phase 1, this is where phase 2 starts. So, you know, that's why there's such a stark difference in appearance. By the way, there's a new camera shake on this one. Shout out PLB, Power Up Legend V. He gave me these new camera shake effects. They were pretty freaking awesome, so go subscribe to him. He also helped out editing some of the normal video, so definitely go check him out. He's been helping us a ton because we don't have all the time in the world, so he's been a huge help, so go subscribe to him. I'll leave a link in the description because he's an absolute goat. More After Effects saber lines. These ones are pretty chaotic, but I think they look fun. They start really ramping up in speed here, which I think is really fun to watch. And then, you know, Hue grabs Sonic, and then he goes into a little tornado and throws him. That's a very simple, just grab a tornado off YouTube, add some blur to it, speed it up, and just put it over the characters. I mean, you can see frame 1, they're here, frame 2, they disappear. Simple as that. Same thing, same concept for whenever they are coming back, except I add a little white explosion effect, hide it, make it look a little nicer. This is a reference to the OVA. I can put it on the screen now, but very simple speed lines background. That's probably the easiest part to edit. We have Metal Sonic blast off, and then a really quick zoom in and an expression change to show Sonic's just alertness. He knew this was happening. He ducks under Metal, who was flying at him. We go slow-mo for a second. He grabs Metal just like Metal did before. Slams him on the ground. That's an ouch. Pretty simple effects here. Just lots of speed lines here to kind of indicate the slow-mo. Just kind of like everything's moving very slow because I feel like it just kind of adds more emphasis. But you got a camera shake, some smoke effects and impact effects. You know, Hue lands on the ground here. Now he's starting to break down finally. He's got some electricity coming off of him. He's not doing so hot at this point. He grabs him by the nose. I thought this was disrespectful, but it would be really funny. So he grabs him by the nose. Now he's really breaking down. He's really struggling, but he's also powering up. He's kind of using the last of his power for this little moment here. Now this electricity effect was super convenient because it was already purple and it kind of matched Hue's silhouette perfectly, so grateful to whoever made that. Sonic takes a look, Hue comes off the mountain. Thought it'd be really cool if, like, right when he was flying off the mountain, he basically just explodes the entire thing because of how much force is gonna go into his next attack. Uh-oh, looks like the fight's about to be over, and then boom, just animate that little spinning rock to hit metal. He hits the ground there, it causes an explosion, makes a crater in the ground to the lava, obviously. And this is kind of where things look a little different because there's no like ice ledge effect. So it's just a random rocky ledge I found that kind of looks like it could belong here. I don't know, I didn't think it mattered too much by this point. But you've got Sonic looking down into it, Hue grabs the ledge, and now you see him over the lava, which I think looks really fun because you've got all the lighting effects. I really love playing with the lighting and trying to make it look as real as possible. And I think this turned out pretty okay. Obviously Sonic's like, no, and tries to reach out. Sonic reaches out, you know, Hue tries to reach up. It's all kind of the same, just very simple background effects. The biggest thing I use for lighting here is just a very simple effect that you can find on YouTube. I think it's called free blue light overlay, but you can see I can kind of move it anywhere to like move the lighting wherever I want. But obviously I want it down where the lava is, so it's down here. Very simple stuff. He moves away Sonic's hand. There can only be one Sonic, good old OVA reference. And then he yells out to Metal, who just, you know, interpret this how you will. Is he letting go, or did he try to hold on for as long as possible? Who knows? Sonic yells out once again, and then you get the final impactful shot of just, dang. There he goes, looking into the cliff side where Metal has fallen down and died now. And my original goal for this shot was to make it kind of like the clouds part and a sunset comes out. I didn't really do a great job. I kind of just had a light fade in behind the mountains. But it's kind of hard to see because you've already got so much lighting coming from that orange light that I placed here for the lava. But I still think it looks pretty fun, pretty cool for like a final shot.
Faster than before, but not fast enough.
Alright, so that is how I edited the Sonic vs. HUEHUEHUE fight. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys liked watching the editing showcase / tutorial. I hope you guys liked the original video. If you haven't seen that already, I'll leave a link. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.